How's it going, guys? It's Mr. Lone Wolf, and today I'm just going to test out. So far I've seen two main mods that have been added on my console list. So we've got this, the JBE version of the Royal, which is the first one, and then there's also the, what's it called, the Titanious Maximus, but it's a six-wheeled version, which is, yeah, pretty cool, another sort of rival to the Apache. Not that it's hard to rival that. Yeah, I was just messing around with this thing first of all. I mean, I tipped there, but I was kind of purposely trying to tip it. Long story short, if it was the original Royal, it'd probably tip just there, sitting on the rocks. Like, this was one of the worst in the game for tipping. Probably this and the ANK, MK38, whatever it's called. Yeah, those two were kind of pretty terrible. Yeah, this feels a hell of a lot better now. I assume they've adjusted the weight characteristics of it, but if not, it's got wider tyres, different suspension. Yeah, just kind of, well, like all the other JBE mods, it's just like an improved, better version of the original truck. And yeah, this is no different. There's a few little things, like it skids around quite a lot, but I have gone for the high range at the minute, which there is other gearboxes available, and I did try them a little bit later, and I think I ended up using the JBE sort of custom gearbox. Yeah, that kind of was a pretty good balance. At the minute in the high range, it just, the back end drifts really quickly, but the steering's not quick enough to keep up with it. So yeah, you just kind of, you're snaking around a lot really. Whereas yeah, like I said, the JBE version of the gearbox kind of, it all fit pretty well. Yeah, that's what she said. Yeah, again, I was just bombing around quickly. I'm not going to spend long on the proving grounds because I'm not too keen on the proving ground. It's nice when they add loads of mods and you just want to quickly keep flying through them and testing them. Again, get yourself a goddamn horse of a vehicle. Yeah, but I don't know, it kind of gets boring pretty quick really. So I prefer taking it onto like Black River, all that sort of stuff. But still, while I was here, I had to know. And I was just driving like an idiot really at the start, but yeah, it actually made it up that bump though. Took a bit of a hit on the bumper, but yeah, some trucks don't even make it up that. And then this is the next thing, which is again, what's it called, the Titanious Maximus. But yeah, it's a six-wheeled version, so like I said, bit of a competition for the Apache. And what's the other thing? That 0.65 mini wrecker thing as well. And yeah, one thing I've always liked about the Titanious Maximus is the way they've done like the suspension and the dampers and all the rest of it. It feels a lot more realistic really. It does feel pretty good. It's also not really getting thrown about by this trailer too much. I'm just going to go and do a run on, what's it called, food delivery or something. And on Black River you kind of grab two lots of consumables from the farm and take it over to where you end up building the drilling site. Another thing as well, I think when I originally drove the Titanious Maximus, I must have put the off-road gearbox in, and overall it felt pretty slow. I'm not sure if there's any additions or changes, but tonight I just left the stock gearbox in to see how well that does, and yeah, it felt, for me at least, a lot better with the stock gearbox. It's kind of got a nice balance of, yeah, it's got a bit more speed to it basically, which is what I like. It's pretty cool that it can actually carry one cargo slot even on its sort of pickup bed like that, even though it sort of overhangs, it's too wide, it just kind of plonks it on top, which, yeah, come in handy every now and then. Also the pickup bed, I mean, that roll cage add-on has got like 5,000 repair points and all sorts. As far as towing this as well, it's going pretty well. Like overall, it's a nice truck. It's well planted for its size and everything. Like a lot of trucks that are this small, kind of, yeah, the trailer dictates a lot of what's going on. You'll see in a sec though, it had to be a troll at some point. Again, I was just hoofing it. Well, it is a timed event, so in my defence, I am racing the clock. Yeah, this is just what I really don't like about all these dolly axle trailers. There's too much floppiness going on between the dolly axle and then the fact that like the way it hitches to the truck. Again, with the fifth wheel, it kind of bolts it horizontally to the truck, and the only way the trailer's going really is if it's taking your truck with it. This thing is pretty much able to, the trailer could flip and sit on its side, certainly tip far enough to lose the cargo, whereas you could still be like completely flat and planted. So yeah, in the end, as you can see, I switched for this trailer, which has got double the amount of axles. It does feel a bit better, a bit more weighted low down and stuff. So yeah, I'm not really keen on anything with a dolly axle that has to carry cargo. I've learned I don't like them. Definitely the sideboard semi-trailer is my favourite so far. But yeah, this thing's motoring along pretty nicely, and that was in high range as well. That's what I mean. This the stock gearbox. I'm kind of used to. You see the word stock, and it's like, oh, skip over that. Go and have a look what else is on offer. But yeah, in this case, the stock one's worth keeping. Obviously, if you're going to go on a more off-road focused map, like I don't know, Zimnegorsk or something, it'd probably be worth banging the off-road gearbox in. But yeah, again, I quite like Black River because even though one thing I like about Black River is there's kind of all the options there. You've got longer routes that are the roads. You've got, you know, as the crow flies, shortcuts like this, which aren't necessarily faster per se, but they're more fun and more variety. Or you kind of got middle of the road, you know, sort of light dirt roads and all that sort of stuff. Whereas, yeah, other maps like Zimnegorsk, kind of, it's all or nothing. That's just a muddy map, and that's all there is to it. Which, for some of the trucks that handle pretty well through the mud, that's not a bad thing. But I'm just saying, overall, for messing around with vehicles when I'm not really taking it all too seriously, yeah, maps like this is pretty cool. I'll be interested to see what these new Phase 3 maps are like. I heard it's in, yeah, Wisconsin or something, and I've not really seen anything about them. All I know is they're not snowy maps, so I'm hoping they're going to be a little bit more like this. That said, from the general direction the SnowRunner people have been going with it each update, yeah, I've got a feeling they're still going to be pretty difficult maps in their own right. I doubt they're going to be as free-flowing and easy as Black River. And the time I get now, by the way, I clicked straight off it. It was 2 minutes 20. I clicked to deliver one piece of cargo, and it was only accepting one at a time rather than just doing the mission. So yeah, when I clicked it again, it kind of just skipped through the whole thing. By this point, by the way, this was about my third run, mainly to do with the trailer being a complete troll, so hence the impatience of like, no, I'm not going to listen to you, trailer, I'm going to push my luck. Oh yes. Obviously trained by a professional or something. Yeah, and then I decided this trailer can spend its life in the river. One thing I'm not sure with this, or like, obviously the four-wheeled version, I think they removed it a day or two ago. That's why it'd be nice if there was a bit of heads up on what they're going to remove. And I'm not saying this is like the modder's responsibility to give us a heads up. It'd just be nice if there was that kind of thing going on in the game, if there was like a little menu window or news window in the game, because I'm not sure, now I've downloaded the 6-wheel version of the Titanious Maximus, if that is kind of in place of the 4-wheel drive one. What I mean is basically, because they removed the 4-wheel drive one, I can't unsubscribe to it. So I may well be using 500 to 800 megabytes of space that I now can't unsubscribe to until / if they add the 4-wheel drive back. I don't know if that's the case though, it might just count as the 6-wheel drive version. But it still remains, like, my point kind of remains the same. If there was at least like a 24-hour notice before they remove a mod, at least it'd give you the chance to unsub to it and save a bit of space, because it's not been an issue for me yet, but I assume if they keep adding mods, eventually I'm going to get to the point where it says there isn't enough memory, and then yeah, it will be a problem, especially if there's by then like 5 odd trucks that have been removed that are eating a gig or 2 of the free space I'm allowed. Yeah, next up, on Black River anyway, is back to this thing, the JBE Royal, and as you can see at the start in the garage and stuff, the back end's just seriously slippy on it. And again, I don't even think it's necessarily like this JBE version. I believe, if I remember correctly, the Royal was a bit like that back in the day anyway. I've not driven the Royal properly anyway for quite a while, because it just that it tips so easily. I've always liked the speed of the Royal. I think it was just about the fastest truck in the game as far as top speed goes, like for flying down the runway on White Valley and flying off the cliffs. It was a lot of fun, but yeah, for anything else, for going around corners, it really didn't do that too well. I had to glitch there, apologies, but basically as I was driving, the back end just stepped out. I wasn't steering or anything, and it just completely flew off to the right. But once you're into kind of like the dirt tracks and the muddier stuff, then it felt a lot better. It sort of felt more normal and planted and everything. So yeah, overall I'd say, to be honest, if you're going to be on a more open map like this, I did actually try the highway tyres just in the yard drifting around, messing around, and they were still pretty slippy with a high range gearbox anyway. So if you're going to be on a map like this where you're going to be driving along a fair amount of roads, I'd probably, instead of messing with the tyres, I'd just drop it down to a kind of lower ratio gearbox, yeah, like the off-road gearbox. If you're going to be, again, on a map more like Zimnegorsk or something that's just pure muddy, I don't even think it'll really be an issue anyway. And again, I was just more messing around, completely dropping the hammer on purpose, not really trying to be subtle about it. So yeah, long story short, 2 attempts at doing the food delivery run. I smashed my suspension both times on the way. So now, I went back to the garage, got a trailer, and you can see with the gearbox I've got the 3 low range options. So this is like the JBE off-road version, which is 6 auto gears, which is still more than enough to be fair. Yeah, it's got the high range, which I can't really do without that. That truck I tested yesterday that has a gearbox that doesn't have a high range at all, it just, yeah, it doesn't feel right, even though it's got the 7 autos, not the 4. But if you do use that thing, what's it, the RNG US K23 or something, I would definitely recommend the off-road gearbox. And as you know, if you've been watching any of my videos, I normally am just absolute flat out high range is my choice. But yeah, overall it just felt a nice gearbox for that truck yesterday. And the JBE version on this just suits it pretty well. As you can see, there's still plenty of power and everything there, and I've still got the option of the high range and the 3 low ranges, but it's not quite kicking that power into the point it becomes a bit of a drift machine. And partly it's more that the steering on it's a little bit slow, and again, that's nothing to do with like the JBE modded version, it's just, I think it's this truck in general. I seem to remember the steering was pretty slow back in the day. I kind of remember when I last drove it on was it Smithville Dam quite a while ago, and yeah, it was trolling the crap out of me. It rolled about 4 times, and then that was it. I recovered to garage, and it's kind of been collecting dust ever since, really. But yeah, again as well, you can see with this gearbox, put it in high range, I'm taking a little bit of damage. That area does seem to be a bit of a troll for whatever reason, but overall it's not absolutely flying and deleting itself. That trailer you can see flipped there, that was from the Titanious Maximus, hence the reason I went and drowned the last trailer when I finally made it. I only realised when I got here, after about 5 attempts, I was like, oh god damn it, I've not even built the bridge. Because I didn't even, when I was flying along with the Titanious Maximus, I just kind of cut across the water, even though it wasn't really the quickest of options. It was just, I don't know, I didn't pre-plan it, I just went for it. At least though, this can actually cut along the side of this unbuilt bridge, because I remember when this exact same thing happened to me on my second playthrough, and yeah, I got stuck. I couldn't make it across. I had to like quit whatever I was doing and go and build that bridge. But yeah, I mean overall it is a better version. They've made it potentially like usable again. As I said, some of you might still be using the Royal anyway, but I've said the Royal, ironically, will suit people usually that travel slower, because if you go fast in the Royal, you're going to tip. Whereas this thing, yeah, it's pretty decent for not tipping, so that was the biggest issue. It was one of the things, it's almost like with the Freightliner M1916 or whatever it's called. The steering was so shocking on it, you just couldn't look beyond it. That was like the limiting factor. This was, yeah, the fact that it tips every 2 seconds, but now there's you have enough time to actually see what else it's capable of. So at this point, for reasons, I decided to go and drown this trailer as well. But it was a chance to test out. There's some various different snorkels on it, as you can see. Got my little periscope popping out the top, and yeah, actually motors through water. It's a pretty good submarine truck. I wasn't actually going anywhere in particular. I just, for whatever reason, felt the need to drown a trailer. These things happen from time to time. Yeah, another quick last little blast in this thing. And eventually, when I've stopped kind of jumping from this mod to that mod and all the rest of it, and hopefully things settle down, I'll be keeping like a bunch of mods. That's what I want to get to the point of, having loads of mods on a map. Like I said, for the most part at the minute, I've kind of been rotating between them and have to sell them back each time, again with these. After I was done playing around tonight, to sell all the stuff back. This one's pretty easy to sell the stuff back. The Royal, it's the scrolling through the tyres, and just to throw out there, the amount of choice of tyres is a good thing. Overall, I just pick a set of tyres and that's it. That's why I pick one set, mostly the chained, because they work in every condition. Like, they work on the icy roads, they work on the mud, all the rest of it. Yeah, and I just don't go back because the tyre menu is horrifically slow. Whatever time I will save by trying to pick a specific tyre set for a bit of mud, it'll all be lost again by the amount of time it takes me to scroll through the menu. Maybe what they could do with the tyre menu, and again it's not really on the modders necessary to do this, it'd be more good if they did it in-game, is, for example, you got like different tyre sizes. If you could just tick or cross off the tyre sizes you don't want, because it'd make it a lot easier. Just say the JBE Royal, because that had a lot more choice of tyres. I think the largest size was the 57 inch, but originally you got to scroll through all the 41 inch or whatever it's like. If I could just cross all them off and just have the 57 inch tyres and do it like that, it'd probably be a better, more fluent menu, but I won't hold my breath. I'll just stick to, yeah, picking one set and that's it. That's the set I live and die by. This thing as well, just as I was messing around, it's pretty good for fling it around, drop it in high. But the nice thing is it actually does a little drift, it doesn't just dig in and flip. However, because it has got quicker steering than the Royal, you can actually, like, yeah, mess around, purposely do a drift and kind of have some rough guidance over where it ends up. Like, you can kind of steer back out of it and catch it and all the rest of it and carry on. Yeah, the Royal is just, on tarmac at least, with the high range anyway, it's just so much power, it just flings itself all over the place, it's anyone's guess. Whereas this is a little bit more, yeah, manageable to mess around with. But either way, I'd recommend both of them, they're both good mods. The Royal, the JBE Royal is definitely an improvement on the Royal. Yeah, this is a good laugh as well, with very nice suspension setup and everything. Yeah, so that's about it for today though. I hope you enjoyed, I hope that helps, thanks for watching, and I'll be back soon.